Dr. Rouse, welcome to an episode of Celebrating Success in Education. You are here because you've had so much amazing experience in the education field. First, can you tell the audience just a little bit briefly about yourself?
Absolutely. I am the proud superintendent of Joliet Public Schools District 86. This is year 9 in Joliet for me. Previous to this, had been in California for 22 years working in education. I say proud superintendent because I am amazingly proud of all of our students and staff and the work that's being accomplished in Joliet every single day.
Amazing. You have established yourself as an expert in the field, that's for sure. So, one of the reasons that I do this is to showcase some amazing, incredible wins that you see in education, either as a superintendent or otherwise. Can you share with us any amazing win or just something that you're really proud of that either your district has implemented or anything else like that?
Absolutely. One thing that drew me to Joliet was the music program here in Joliet. In California, we'd had to eliminate all of our band, orchestras, and choirs because of budget cuts. And coming here to Joliet, there's a long history and tradition of the fine arts. And there's music, there's orchestra, band, and choir at all 4 of our junior highs, and they're quite robust. Our high school district loves the fact that we send them such qualified musicians moving forward. But my love of music goes back into my own childhood and how music helped shape me as a learner. And so I love the fact we're able to do that with our students to the point that I even have gone and purchased myself a violin that I hadn't played in years. And I play violin with our students at times. I've sung with some of the choirs and played piano for different things because that's my love language is that music piece and being able to connect with our students in that way. We since have also expanded our music program and now have a very robust mariachi program and really are able to celebrate the Hispanic heritage that represents 65% of our students. So that is a huge win for us and the entire community perception of our district. I've seen shift over times, and we actually now are building 2 brand new junior highs to replace 2 of our junior highs based upon the fact that 72% of the voters 2 years ago said yes to our referendum, which is unheard of to have that kind of support in the community. But we're going to have 2 incredibly innovative learning spaces for our students across the city. I'm really excited. Those are some amazing wins here in Joliet.
And I applaud all of those things. It's great, and I'm a big proponent, certainly, of the well-rounded student. I myself played a lot of sports, but I also dabbled at the violin a little bit when I was a kid, and my
Okay.
teacher told me I had excellent bow work.
Oh, good.
Didn't stick for me, I will say. I didn't love it enough to wanna continue doing it, but it's really cool to see that you've taken that back for yourself and can kind of play with the students. That's very, very cool. So here's a question I always like to ask is if a genie came down from the sky or a lamp, let's just say this, a lamp came down from the sky, you rubbed the lamp, that genie came out and gave you one wish for your school district. For the sake of things, we'll throw out the obvious one, which is more money. What is something that you wish that you could give to all of your principals and teachers and students? Maybe it's just an idea or something that they know, give them some confidence, whatever it might be. What is that one wish that you think might be the most impactful?
I think that one wish would have to focus around the notion of peace and reducing trauma in our world. And trauma beyond not just Joliet, but our county, our state, our nation. We're impacted at the adult level and the child level so profoundly with trauma these days. And the impacts and effects of that affect our psyche. And it doesn't help us learn. So that there was no trauma getting in the way. There was no angst, no fear so that we could really be all that we could be as adult learners and child learners, I think we could change the world. But it's that being able to that wish would be to take that trauma away from them.
Okay, that's a powerful statement and something I haven't heard before. So I always appreciate when I get something new that I hear. So if you, when you, I'm imagining you work with you principals, and
Mhm.
when you work with the principal, if you were going to give a principal one piece of advice the first day, right before they start being a principal for the very first time, what would you say to that?
I would say smile and listen.
Mhm.
Smile and listen. Greet everyone with a smile, say good morning, be happy.
Mhm.
The realities of being positive and taking that positivity into our workplace can change everyone's world. And when you're new in an environment, the best thing you can do is listen
Mhm.
and listen well. Don't just make assumptions. Don't just look at the data. You have to hear the people. So smile, be there, present,
Mhm.
not just physically present, but emotionally present,
Yes.
and be positive and listen.
So I love that for many reasons, but as I mentioned to you earlier, what I do is I do professional development workshops for principals and teachers and staff. And one of the main things that I say is to listen. And the way I define active listening is by listening to understand instead of listening to respond. And what you just described, which is what happens so often where people are listening, but they're really listening, waiting for their turn to talk. When in reality, if you're truly listening, you're taking in what the person's saying and you're responding only to what they're saying, not to just what you previously had wanted to say. There's a really huge difference. Worse at it than they think that they are. And it's a good idea for them to really be told that as often as possible. Hey, there's a really big difference between you thinking that you're listening and you really being there, actively listening to these people so you can understand, take that in, and then give a response that fits with their question or whatever they were saying. So,
That is so true. I always tell them, I said, if you already know what you want to say, you've missed the point.
correct.
You have to really hear what they're saying because there's meat there that you haven't thought of. And you've got to get all the way through it, let them get it all the way out to
Mhm.
be able to have then a proper response.
Absolutely. So, first, I know you've obviously spent a lot of time in with children,
Mhm.
and children, as we know, say the darndest things.
Yes, they
Is
do.
there anything that you remember that a child said something to you that was just really funny that you haven't forgotten?
The most profound statements come from the youngest ones amongst us, right? First of all, they'll talk about how tall you are. When I get introduced as Dr. Rouse, sometimes they get a little nervous, and I'm like, no, no, I don't give you a shot. I'm a doctor in your mind. I'm not a doctor that's going to give you a shot.
Sure.
And then they relax. So, that whole notion of, are you the boss? And I'm like, well, technically, yeah, but I don't like to think about it that way. I just like to be able to provide for you everything you need to be a successful student. And
Mhm.
they're just like, wow, you can do that. One time we gave out water bottles, refillable water bottles, because we were trying to get away from the plastics, but always getting everybody back into water. So everybody got a refillable water bottle that had the district logo on it. All the students did too, not just the staff.
Mhm.
And one of the students, she went home and she said, Dr. Rouse gave me a water bottle. So I heard about that through an aunt of hers back to me from the community. So I went to that school and had the principal call her down to the office. And she came in and she was just like, hey, Dr. Rouse, you came to see me? And I'm like, yeah, I came to see you. What else do you need? You love the water bottles so much. We had a great conversation, but it's just so cool to be able to provide them even just the littlest things
Mhm.
that make a difference for them.
Beautifully said. And I do think it is fun when you work with children. And so I've
Mhm.
been teaching children improv comedy. And one of the interesting things is that what a lot of my instructors will say is that the best improvisers are actually the kids because they don't have all these other voices saying, this, don't say that, don't say this isn't funny, do this. They're very pure and honest. And when you get that purity and that honesty, you get a lot of profound statements and you get a lot of truth.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it. Kids say the darndest things, and they do.
They do. If you were to, or if someone rather were to write a book about your life, what
Oh,
do you think
wow.
that book would be titled, and what do you think the main theme would be?
The wandering path, if you ask my mother about it, because she's always said I wandered all over the place. But, maybe it's about the journey is never over, because it's my life hasn't been about reaching a certain checkpoint.
Mhm.
If we can learn from something,
Mhm.
then it is all good.
Yeah.
So no matter how bad a situation may seem, if we can learn from it, it's all good.
I definitely like the positive energy. We always need more positive energy, and
Yeah.
often it is all good, and you need someone to remind you of that.
Absolutely. Well, and sometimes we pass around Bouncy. Bouncy's a little dog and he's got a hook and he's got two different colored eyes and he's special. But sometimes, and he's like a therapy dog. The larger versions actually have a heartbeat in them when the kids hug them. I have a small version here in my office. And sometimes even with my leadership team, we
Mhm.
pass Bouncy around because we need to share. We need to be careful and care for each other.
Is there a children's book that you see a lot or that you think is a really good book for whatever reason, maybe the messaging or just that kids really seem to like it? Is there any book, and really for any age group, but I am in my head, I'm thinking of kind of the younger-ish kids as they're
Mhm.
beginning to learn how to read. Is there any book that comes to mind?
My favorite book to read to young children is Dr. Seuss's book, Oh, the Places You'll Go, because I want them to always be thinking about what is possible, and really anything is possible. I don't want them to feel they're trapped due to their station in life.
Mm,
And sometimes when you're in a high poverty setting, they feel like they have a ceiling on them. I want the ceiling off. So that's my favorite book to read to students, to
mm,
just open up their minds in kind of a little crazy Dr. Seuss way, but oh, the places you'll go, you can go anywhere.
mm. I like that a lot. Do you have a life motto that you live by?
I would say the "it's all good" that I mentioned earlier is probably, if you ask anybody that's around me, I mean, I've had people here have made me T-shirts that say, "It's all good."
Mm,
Quote Dr. Rouse. But it's one of those things that if I continue to keep that frame, then I do have a positive approach to everything I do. So, yeah, it's all good.
it's all good.
Mhm.
Dr. Rouse, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I hope our paths cross again very soon.
I hope so as well. Thank you, Ethan.